Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today I present you with a build and team guide for Miyabi. Miyabi is an exceptionally strong character, very powerful, but in return she has quite big team restrictions. If you do have Yanagi specifically, the options will open up quite a lot, but without it I would say it's quite restrictive, but nevertheless a very powerful character. But before I talk about her build, I would like to have a quick overview of how she functions. Basically, Miyabi is a frost anomaly character. What you want to do with her is to get as quickly as possible fallen frost stacks. It goes up to 6 points, and then you hold the basic attack to perform an enhanced basic attack, Shimotsuki, which can consume up to 6 charges to do a strong enhanced basic attack. There are multiple ways how to get these fallen frost stacks from Miyabi kit, but also it is very dependent on having certain teammates, because disorders will also allow you to get more stacks. She is quite straightforward character to play. Like I said, very powerful, just restrictive with team options, especially if you do not have Yanagi. And now with that out of the way, let's begin with the build guide part of this video. But actually before that, I would like to let you know that a lot of you guys who watch me are not subscribed. If you like to support this small channel, feel free to subscribe, smile, and now let's continue for real. Let's start with Miyabi main stats first. On drive disc 4, she wants to be built on crit rate. Yes, on crit rate, because her kit scales off crit rate specifically. She is an anomaly amongst anomaly characters, because she also scales off crit rate. As you can see here on her core passive ability, the frost anomaly build-up rate will be increased based on her own crit rate. You will want at least 80% crit rate. That's why drive disc 4 crit rate is extremely important. As for drive disc 5, it's going to be between ice damage bonus, pen ratio, or attack percentage. The main stat here will heavily depend whether you have her signature V engine or not, because her signature V engine already provides a lot of ice damage bonus. If you do happen to have her signature V engine, then I would recommend sticking with pen ratio or attack percentage main stat instead. And lastly, drive disc 6 is going to be anomaly mastery. Anomaly mastery is extremely important for Miyabi, because she still needs to build up frost on enemies. You do want to trigger your frost anomaly, disorders, and also have that nice frost burn break damage on top. Now let's talk about her substats. It's going to be crit rate, crit damage, attack percentage, anomaly proficiency. Yes, you can still do anomaly proficiency, because it will still improve your frost anomaly damage. And lastly, flat pen. Flat pen will be especially useful if you use already pen ratio buffs or have the pen ratio drive disc. And as a note again, make sure to have minimum 80% crit rate on Miyabi, so you can get 100% frost build up from her core passive. Now let's talk about drive disc options. We'll begin with 4-piece options. The best one is going to be Branch and Blade Song. This set will provide crit damage 16% at 2-piece and at 4 pieces. When anomaly mastery is greater than or equal to 115, you'll also gain a 30% critical damage boost. Miyabi at her base stats will already have 116 anomaly mastery, so this 4-piece set will work no matter what, but I still highly recommend to use anomaly mastery drive disc 6 so you can build that frost anomaly faster. Also, this set additionally has that when any squad member applies freeze or triggers the shatter effect on an enemy, the Equiper crit rate will be increased by 12% for 15 seconds. This set is very good for Miyabi, because you're going to get a lot of critical damage, but also some crit rate on top, so it's going to be easier to reach that 80% crit rate for her core passive requirements, and potentially even beyond that. However, if you don't have this set yet, rightfully so, because it comes in the same patch as Miyabi, you can use some other sets in the meantime, such as Woodpecker Electro. Woodpecker Electro provides crit rate at 2-piece, which is very useful for Miyabi, and at 4 pieces, it can provide you hefty amount of attack percentage buffs. However, if Woodpecker Electro is not available, there is another option, which would be Polar Metal. This set does provide a nice ice damage bonus, but more importantly, you will have a damage boost for your basic attack and dash attack. I believe her enhanced basic attack should be boosted by this as well. well, and also when any squad member inflicts freeze or shatter, the effect will additionally be boosted by 20%. This is a pretty okay set to use in the meantime, but do know that with this set you will be missing crit rate, crit damage and all that stuff, so highly recommend you get that crit damage, crit rate set instead, but it is something that you can still use in the meantime. Now let's talk about their two-piece options. It's going to be Polar Metal, 10% ice damage bonus, that's cool. Woodpecker Electro, 8% crit rate, that's also very useful for her. And lastly, you can also go with Puffer Electro if you're going for a pen ratio build with Drive Disc 5/buffs. Also, as a reminder, with pen ratio, whatever you do, make sure you do not go over 100% pen ratio cap. I don't think you'll be able to do this with Miyabi specifically, but if there is a point in time you could, just don't, because it's not gonna work. Now let's talk about their V engine options, or should I say option, because there's not that many options, let's be honest. She is an anomaly character that effectively scales off crit rate, crit damage, and there are effectively no anomaly V engines beside her signature which actually provide crit. So her signature, best in slot, very valuable, provides 50% critical damage of ice damage, and also when using X special attack or any character in the team inflicts an attribute anomaly on an enemy, the equipper ice damage will be increased by 20%, stacking up to 2 times and lasting for 15 seconds. Also, the stacks are calculated separately. Effectively, this V engine provides a 40% ice damage boost and also critical damage of ice damage by 50%. And also on top of this, the advanced stat is crit rate of 24%. This V engine is very good for Miyabi, and I highly recommend you try to get this V engine if you can, because it provides a lot of critical damage, crit rate, and a nice ice damage bonus on top as well. However, if you cannot get her V engine, there is an alternative solution. Like I already said, a lot of these anomaly V engines are pretty much not that good for Miyabi because it doesn't provide any critical rate, critical damage. You can effectively use an attack V engine just for the advanced stat. Yes, the passive will not be available, but at least you will have the advanced stat of critical rate. Currently, the only A rank option with an advanced stat critical rate is Cannon Rotor. Unfortunately, we're getting a new event V engine, which is also attack, but it also has 20% crit rate advanced stat. You could use that on your Miyabi and you'll be fine as a critical rate stat stick. However, do note that that V engine will be very useful for Harumasa, and if you plan to play Harumasa as well at the same time as Miyabi, and you do not have Miyabi signature as well, then Cannon Rotor would be effectively your only other option of a crit rate advanced stat as an A rank V engine. Also, just as a heads up, Cannon Rotor is a Battle Pass V engine, so this is something you would have to buy from the Battle Pass. There is another S rank V engine alternative with crit rate advanced stat that you could use, which is still Caution. This would effectively be only a stat stick for your Miyabi. It's not like the passive would work anyway, but you could get 24% crit rate and a decent amount of base attack. And if you don't have this available either, the last option that you could potentially try is the B rank V engine, which provides 16% crit rate, but I personally wouldn't really recommend this because you will lose a lot of base attack. Now let's talk about Miyabi best team options on release. Miyabi is a very strong character, but also very restrictive, because Miyabi wants to be played with at least one anomaly teammate within her team for better, faster disorders, also so she can get more stacks for her enhanced basic attacks to do big damage. However, on top of that, Miyabi also needs to be played with a support character or a same faction character. So not only you want to play her with an anomaly character, it also has to be a support slash same faction, so you have her additional ability. The best teammate that's gonna fulfill both of her conditions of being anomaly plus same faction, that would be Yanagi. If you happen to have Yanagi, you will have quite a lot of options. We'll get to Yanagi teams a bit later down within this video. We'll start first with free-to-play slash new player options. So if you're a new player who started with Miyabi, you can effectively go with Piper plus Lucy. By having these two within Miyabi team, everybody additional abilities will be activated. Piper is pretty much the go-to A-rank anomaly agent for building up anomaly and helping out to get those disorders as quickly as possible with your Miyabi teams. Lucy, an amazing support. If you do have mindscapes on both of them, it's only going to get better, smoother rotations and more damage, of course, but this is definitely something you can use it at the start. Lucy, on the time of this video, is available in the shop, so as a new player, you could technically grab one copy. However, if you do not have Lucy or you're using her in another team, you can use Sogagu as an alternative. This will also work okay with Piper and Miyabi, of course, but do know that Piper will not have her additional ability. Personally, I don't think it's going to be a big deal if you will lose this 80% damage bonus for your team. It's more important that you have additional ability of Miyabi active, because Piper will still give you the same anomaly build-up and all that stuff, so it's good. There is also another option that you can go with, which would be Sogagu plus Lycaon. This can work as well with Miyabi to some extent. However, do know that for Lycaon specifically, you would want him to be played on Anomaly Mastery and Freedom Blues. Effectively, he would be there to try to apply Ice Anomaly build-up as quickly as possible, and also as being a stunner to help you stun faster. And also on top of all of that, he also provides a nice Ice damage res debuff, so you can do more damage with your Miyabi. And also his additional ability, which will be active, you're also going to have a damage multiplier increased against stunned enemies. So this is something that you can definitely try. If you started with Lycaon, Sogagu is free after all, so it's an option. Now let's talk about premium team options. As I already said, if you have Yanagi, she fulfills both conditions for Miyabi, having an anomaly partner / same faction for the additional ability. So like I already said, with Yanagi, you'll have a lot of third slot options. You can play with Bernie's, triple anomaly will also work. You can also go with Caesar, have the nice shield, stunning enemies and stuff, pretty good. If you do not have Caesar, but you still want to use kind of shielder / type of stun character, you could also be running with Seth. This will also work. Or you could be running with a support like Rina, especially have her M1, so the duration of the penetration buff is increased. Then it's going to be even smoother to play. At M0, you can still try, but the rotations might be clunky, harder to pull off because the duration of the buff is quite short. You can also play it with Jane. That will also work, should be perfectly fine. And lastly, Lucy is also an option. Especially if you have Mindscapes on her, it will be quite excellent team as well. Also, I would like to quickly talk about Yanagi-less teams. So if you don't have Yanagi because you didn't get the red bun skill issue, if you ask me, you can play effectively with Bernice plus Lucy. Bernice plus Lucy will work perfectly fine for Miyabi as well. Everybody will have their additional abilities. And there is also another Yanagi-less team option, which would be with Jane plus Lucy. You will not have additional ability with Lucy, but it's not really a big deal. She will still buff attack and all that stuff, so it's good. And Jane effectively will be better than Piper at building up anomaly, so it's gonna work fine as well. And also, just as a reminder, if you're playing any type of Miyabi teams without any anomaly teammates, such as Sokaku / Lycaon, make sure you have anomaly mastery drive discs so they can help at building up anomaly as quick as possible. And also, just as a heads up, it's very likely that there will be a new support for Miyabi, so keep an eye on that, save your gems, because they will probably end up being very strong for her. And lastly, let's talk about Bangboo options. Best in slot is going to be Agent Gulliver, specifically if you have two Section 6 agents, such as Yanagi plus Miyabi or Sogagu plus Miyabi. Agent Gulliver provides a lot of electric anomaly build-up, and also when attacking enemies under other non-electric anomalies, attacks will also accumulate 60% more anomaly build-up with his active or chain attack skill, so it's pretty good. Also, his multipliers seem to be stronger than something like Bangboo, so if you can use use him, I will highly recommend that you do. However, if you're not playing with double Section 6 agents, then it's not going to work that well. In that case, you go with something like Bangboo, which is double electric within the team, or Rocketboo if you're playing double fire. However, if you're specifically playing double ice teammates or something like that, I do not recommend using Sharkboo, but Penguin Boo instead, because Sharkboo has some weird trap gimmick where a lot of times it doesn't even hit, so I'd rather go with this guy over that one. However, if you're in a situation where your Bangboo nor your Rocketboo meets its additional ability requirement, then I would be just using Agent Gulliver over them, because Agent Gulliver active skill has a higher multiplier than, let's say, Bangboo. So yeah, I guess this is it for this video. If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to write it down in the comments below, or even better, feel free to drop by my streams. I stream every single day on Twitch/YouTube. And of course, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a like, smile, and yeah, that's it. I wish you a wonderful day and see you in the next video.